The build show today, I'm hanging out with a third generation builder, Fred Seifert, Seifert Construction. Fred, this is a gorgeous house. There's a lot going on here. But you know I like talking about the guts of the house, the heart of the home, which is the mechanical room. Could we take a look at yours?
Sure, let me show you, come on.
All right, let's do it. Fred, absolutely gorgeous construction here. I mean, the shingle style, the view of the water, and the inside just as gorgeous. But you know, I love mechanical rooms. This is the heart of the house. This is the lungs, the guts, the mechanicals. Everybody loves talking about these. Give me a little tour here. What's going on in this room? Walk me through it.
So this room was pretty big when we started. It filled up quick. But one thing we made sure to do right away is before we did anything, we plywooded the walls. So that everything is secured, fastened nicely to our plywood. We don't have cut pieces around things.
And not only did you put plywood on, but you painted it.
We painted them Battleship Gray, and that's kind of what we do. It just kind of keeps the room clean. It's a little dirty now because we're still under construction, but you know, that's the first main thing we did. And then we kind of laid everything out systematically so everything has a place, everything functions right. And you know, you can see this, and I can walk you through it a little on what we've got here.
I love it, man. Before you do that, though, real quick, I want to mention, you know, when you pre-paint a room like this and you give plywood on all the walls, it means that when the plumber then needs to put this rack and move it over a foot, he's not making holes in sheetrock, if you were to use sheetrock to begin with. And because he's pre-painted it, he can go back later and touch that up if a mistake's made or if something gets cut, or somebody spills plumbing glue on there.
Exactly.
So we're still under construction. We're not done yet. Fred was feeling bad that we were going to look at this without having it pre-dusted and looking like it would in a finished house, but I love it, Fred. So start over here in the corner. This big box, I'm assuming, is a boiler.
Yeah, so that's our boiler, but that's not our main source of heat for the house. We have a geothermal system, which we have a wells field out in the main front of the house. Consists of 8 300-foot wells.
Wow.
Pulling all the water into here. It comes into this area.
Oh, so these are geothermal
These are geothermal loops.
Okay.
Yep. They come to each of the systems. Each of these are zones. Now this is your package unit, they call it. It's your Climate Master 30 SEER unit. It has
30 SEER, is that
30
what you said?
SEER, yep.
Oh my gosh,
yep.
that's
So
really
it's high efficiency units.
And when you say package unit, that means we've got a compressor or other way around, I guess.
Yep.
Compressor and blower all in
Correct.
one box.
Air handler and compressor combined. So that this one is here because it's feeding directly in this area.
Got it. So this box has the water coming in from the loop.
Correct.
And then it's going to extract with the heat pump the heat or the cooling, depending on what's going on.
Depending on what's going on.
And then this is the air handler that actually blows it into this room.
Correct. And this zone is directly here, going down through the crawl space, feeding the first floor of the house. The other ones, these are the split units, where these are our compressors. And we have air handlers located throughout the house. We have a few up in the attic. We have you know, and then we have one in the basement. I mean, not in the basement. I'm sorry, in the garage for the garage area.
Yep.
And then we have one for the gym area. So those are split units. This actually is an air handler up here. You probably can't see that, but that's an air handler that's connected to one of these split units.
I love it. And check this out. I've never seen this before. If you need to actually put some insulation on a valve, it looks like a sheet of Tyvek that has kind of like a ski pants kind of
Scrungy type.
Scrungy on there. There's some fiberglass insulation, and now we can still cut that valve off, but it's going to be insulated. It's not going to sweat on us.
Correct.
In this room, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Super smart, man. I love it. Look how your guys have done such a neat job. All of your pipes are lined up. Everything's fully insulated. This is just really nice work. I'm assuming this is a mechanical contractor you've used for a while before?
Yep. This is a mechanical contractor that we've used for 25 years. So he's a high-end contractor, and he does great work for us.
Beautiful. Now, the boiler you mentioned, that's not providing your domestic heat. So what are you using the boiler for?
So that's a secondary stage. If the geothermal in the really cold months can't keep up, that will kick up on secondary.
Okay, so that's natural gas?
That's propane.
Propane,
Yep.
okay.
There's no natural gas in this area, so it's propane. We have a 1,000-gallon propane tank buried outside.
All right, good deal.
Yep.
So then the other thing about propane is if you had a power loss,
Correct.
you can still use the propane with very little electricity. We just need a fan to blow.
Correct. So we actually have solar panels on this house. We do not have a backup generator. We actually have a backup battery. So the solar power is going into the battery, and the battery powers the emergency items, the boiler being one, refrigerators, and path lighting.
Because in a cold climate like Long Island, you're worried about that ice storm where it's minus 10 out for a week.
Correct.
The power gets knocked out. Now you're plumbing in this house. And I'm assuming this is a house that's not occupied all year long.
It is not, so we have to be concerned about that. Years past, we have been putting backup generators. Now, you know, the technology is such where we're doing backup batteries.
I love it, man. Now, what are all these green pumps doing right here?
So these are the circulators that circulate everything to each of the air handlers.
Ah,
okay. So those are those, and this is the radiant heat. So we have manifolds down there for the radiant heat that's going into.
You've got radiant in here as well.
Right, hydronic radiant.
Hydronic radiant,
Yep.
got it.
That's going to the master bathrooms. There's 2 masters and the garage floor.
Beautiful work by your plumber on that.
Thanks.
That copper looks really nice. And I noticed that's sweated copper too, not a press fit type copper.
No, it's all sweated. Yep.
And then on your piping, I'm seeing Uponor pipes in here. Using that for both radiant and for domestic?
We are using it for both
potable?
radiant and domestic. That's the radiant.
Okay,
This is our domestic. So our Renai instant hot water heaters are here. We have 2 of them piggybacked.
These are off propane.
Yep.
Yep.
They're propane. And these are our supplies.
So this
the home
manifold, your plumber probably made that, it looks
Correct.
like, right?
He makes those. And then we have obviously hot, cold, and they're run to each appliance.
And the
so if you have to isolate, say if you have to isolate a toilet bowl that's running, you just turn it off, but the whole house is still running.
I love it. I can imagine this is your plumber's kind of
It's his
scratch pad.
MasterCard, right? We take that back to our shop, our office. We print up a nice one on our letterhead, laminate it, and it'll be hung right there.
Beautiful, man. I love it. And is this a home run plumbing system?
Yes.
Meaning this pipe has a joint here, and then it's got a joint.
It's one line.
That's awesome.
The
That's
whole way.
one huge beauty of the Uponor system is there's really no couplings or fittings.
Nothing to fail.
Well, that's not true. There's not none, but there's a great reduction.
There's a great reduction, yes, you're right.
I'm using Uponor at my house, and I'm trying to run that same type of system where I want to reduce those fittings. And because it's so flexible compared to the other flavors of PEX, you can route it and run it like a wire,
Correct.
which is really cool. I love it. Did I miss anything in here? Any systems that we didn't talk about?
I don't think so. I mean, that's pretty much the bulk of the system in our mechanical room.
I do want to mention that he's got these really high efficiency Renais, so that PVC pipe is actually his sidewall vent right there.
That's correct.
So that he doesn't have to have a traditional metal B vent through the roof.
Yep.
And of course, you wouldn't want to exterior mount these in a cold climate like you could in Texas, for instance. That's a great deal. And the other beauty of this room is now you've got one room for a failure, right?
Yep.
If something leaks, it's all in this room.
Yes. So we're over the crawl space in the house. So what we did is we put a drain in. It's a drain that's not tied into anything because we didn't. Again, this is a seasonal house.
Yep.
If we tie that into the sanitary system, that trap's going to dry out, and you're going to get that back smell into here. So that's just in case of a failure of something. It's going to go into here. It's going to get in the crawl space and go out the flood vents.
Yeah.
It's not going to flood the house.
Smart.
So
now you've got Ramboard for construction. What's your final floor finish going to be in here?
So there's tile under here. If we pull this up,
okay.
we can see the tile finish under there. But yeah, we run the tile all the way through. We want the mechanical room to be as neat and clean as the house.
Love it, Fred. Let me ask you one last question, then we'll wrap this up. I noticed over here you've got these white panel boxes, and I think I know what these are, but I've not actually talked to a builder that's installed one before. This is that fairly new Leviton system that all these breakers have a Wi-Fi connection. Is that
Correct.
right? Do you know much about this? Have you used it before?
So they do. They have a Wi-Fi connection. All the house is it's a Lutron system. So there's randomly placed stuff that switches and whatnot that we're going to have the keypads that they can do the scenes and whatnot, and that all comes back to this panel right here.
Gotcha. And from what I understand or what I've read about these, each individual circuit can actually monitor the energy use out of this circuit. And let's say if this was your TV, your phantom loads, let's say, you could actually go to that particular circuit there and see how much power that circuit was drawing over a period of time, so that you can go, oh, while I'm away, I should turn off my cable box, my VCR, my TV that's drawing 300 watts just sitting there without doing anything for me while I'm on vacation.
And a house like that's seasonal, that's a big plus.
That's really cool. And you've got 3 of these here, so you probably have a 600 amp service or something?
Yep, 600.
Man, Fred, really impressive. If you guys don't know, Fred and his brother John are partners in Seifert Construction. They're 3rd generation builders. Their grandfather started the company. Their dad got them started when they were basically my boys' ages. Gives me a lot of hope. I'm really excited that I hope my kids might be future Reisinger Build owners someday.
I'm sure they will.
And,
they see your excitement for it.
And is your son getting into the business now too?
Yep,
Is that what I heard?
he's graduated and he is now part of the company. So that's 4th generation. So it's kind of cool.
That's really cool. Guys, I'll put a link to Seifert below. If you're thinking about a house in Long Island, these are the guys. Man, they are really, really smart builders. We saw a lot of cool stuff. I don't even have time to video it all, but I thought I'd give you a quick tour of the mechanical room. If you're not currently a subscriber, hit that subscribe button below. We've got new content every Tuesday and every Friday. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Otherwise, I'll see you next time on The Build Show.